Welcome back to Midday. We're visiting now with one of our regular guests, Manpreet Joshi. Welcome.
Thank you so much.
So your title is Regulated Canadian Immigration Consultant with Sia Immigration Solutions, which is, of course, your own company.
Yes.
Tell us a little bit about Sia and what you do.
We are immigration consultants, as you just said. So we are members of ICCRC. We help everybody who is looking to visit Canada temporarily, or who's looking to settle in Canada permanently, or looking to study here, work here, anything, even who are permanent residents and now looking to get permanent residency citizenship in Canada. So we help in all this.
Fantastic. And that can be a really scary process for people when you come overseas and don't know what to expect, don't know how to negotiate all that red tape.
Yes.
I imagine that really puts people's minds at ease.
Yes, it's more, sometimes it's overwhelming. Lots of emotions involved because, they're kind of leaving their home country, leaving their families behind, looking for a brighter future. And on top of that, there is this one burden of paperwork.
Yes.
So we're there to take that off, and they can just take care of the rest.
As well as language barriers. I imagine that's very scary for people when they're navigating so many moving parts.
Yes. So, we can help them in all kind of paperwork. We can guide them what are the options, and then they can just choose one option from there which best suits their need. Once they are here, sometimes for an example, there is a main applicant. He or she just comes by himself or herself. And then we can further help them to bring the families, the children, wife, husband, parents. So it's an ongoing process.
Yes.
So, and we know the feeling.
Yeah.
Our mission is to really to help them. Why I say we know the feeling, because we're all immigration background.
Yes.
Me, my husband, like decade and a half ago, we immigrated. So, we know the feelings. We know where they come from. We know what they're going through. How precious it is for somebody when they have their spouse's application in process, when they have their grandparents coming, their parents coming. So we know the feeling because we belong to that group. Yeah.
And that's a complicated relationship. The personal involvement plus the needing to dot the I's and cross the T's. Those two things together can be very difficult.
Exactly. And for students, they have spent their energy, time, money here in Canada studying, and they are now adapted to the culture. So sometimes they don't want to go back. Like a lot of times they don't want to go back. So there are lots of emotions involved for students and their families back home. And same thing with the foreign workers. So we're here to help everybody who's looking to fulfill their dream to settle in Canada.
Yeah, people who are navigating that process and want to make sure that they do it right. This is a place to go, Sia Immigration. So today we're specifically talking about express entry. Can you kind of define for us what express entry is?
So first of all, sometimes my clients are confused. They think that express entry is an immigration program. So I would really like to clarify that it isn't an immigration program. It is a pool. It is a system under which few immigration programs run. For an example, federal skilled worker, Canadian experience class, some provincial nominee programs. For an example, province of British Columbia has BC PNP, which is called the Provincial Nominee Program of British Columbia. They have two categories, the express and non-express. So the express part of it goes under the express entry system. So it is a system how a federal government takes applications, how IRCC, which is called the Immigration, Refugees and Citizenship Canada, I always repeat this thing in my interviews, they take applications through express entry pool. So it is the pool. In order to apply to that pool, you must be eligible to an immigration category. There is no way that a client can be, or an applicant can be eligible just to an express entry. No, they have to be eligible to an immigration program.
So they have to meet those markers first to be able to be entered into that pool.
Yes, exactly. There is no express entry. The requirement to enter to the pool is you must be eligible into these programs. And then there is, of course, a competing score, which depends on, what's the cutoff.
Right. So you have to draw that line somewhere, right, to differentiate the express from the non-express.
Yes. So it's the cutoff that every, for an example, twice a month, sometimes thrice a month, IRCC does a draw. And then...
wow, even just the emotions around that, wondering whether you will meet that draw or not.
Yes, yes.
Wow.
So it's when, for an example, people like us, they guide their clients. For an example, we guide our clients ahead of the time based on the past trend.
Okay.
So for an example, past 3 draws happened at 450, 451, or in a year the lowest draw went to 441 and the highest went to 460s.
Right. So you can watch those trends and negotiate those.
Yes,
and other people wouldn't know how that works.
Yes, yes.
And attached to that is the Canadian job offer. So let's just touch on that quickly before we go to how is that tied to Express Entry?
I would say about a couple of years ago, a change came to Express Entry where the job offer now only can give up to 200 points.
Okay.
Now
so
to get
the point system and that kind of funnels into that.
Yes. And the job offer has to be supported by LMIA.
Oh.
So a lot of time it gets confused because the provincial nominee job offers are not supported by LMIA. But in order to get extra points for a job offer in Express Entry, candidate must have an approved LMIA by Service Canada.
Okay, so this is complicated. There are a lot of moving parts, as we would generally assume. But if you need help navigating that system, finding out what meets those markers, if you're part of that pool, all of those things, Sia Immigration are the people to see. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you so much for your time.
And for educating us. I don't think it's just your clients who don't know how these things work. Even as Canadian citizens, we're often ill-informed. So this is great education for us as well.
Yeah, this is our passion, honestly.
Yeah. Awesome.
We would love to.
Thank you so much for joining us.
Thanks.
We'll be back with more Midday in just a moment.